Hello and welcome to Motorland Aragon and the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. Live tonight for race number 6 of this summer season. My name is Adam Baker and I'll be your commentator here tonight from V-Speed. We thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy tonight's broadcasts. We're at the halfway point in the season, and last week being one of the most exciting races in recent history with the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter here on iRacing. Looking forward to another great run for these guys tonight. A track that these drivers have been to a few times in different cars throughout the seasons. And it's going to be a very entertaining one here in Spain. 18 turns and 3.32 miles make up the distance for tonight's racetrack. And we do have two 20-minute sessions as usual. And there's going to be a top 12 invert between qualifying and heat race number 1. And then from heat race number 1 to the feature event, they will also invert the top 12. Looks like we have fewer than 10 cars here tonight, so that won't be an issue. So it looks like going to be a small field, but never short on action are these drivers. We are excited to see what they can do in tonight's event. Currently in the qualifying session. You can see the qualifying times over there on the left side. We'll pull up our race analysis. Again, two 20-minute sessions, 3.32 miles, 18 turns. Top 15 do score points in every session. Again, we have a short field tonight, so everyone is going to be scoring points in each of the sessions, and should be very entertaining to watch these guys battle for every position. And every point does matter as we're getting to this event, point in the season. As we pull up the standings, these are your top 10 coming into tonight's race. Harley Lewis with a race win at the top of the charts there. 125 points. Brian Kennedy just a few points back in the second place. Brian is here tonight. Does not look like Harley Lewis is going to start tonight's race, so that will be another missed one for him. Dean Tooling goes to third in the point standings. Mike Nickham fourth. Scott Kim fifth. Matt Gazenda, after his second win of the season last week, he jumps up to the 6th spot in the standings, and still a ways to go for him. But as we see the drop weeks calculated in throughout the rest of the season, should be really interesting to see how things shake out and this championship battle gets going here tonight. And we'll head trackside as drivers have completed qualifying. We'll see where your favorite drivers are starting tonight here from Aragon, as they are getting gridded up. Let's take a look at that starting grid. Fastest in the qualifying session being Clint Fletcher once again. He was fastest last week, ultimately came home runner-up in the feature race, looking to try and get to victory lane tonight. Brian Kennedy, second quickest in the qualifying session. In third, it was Bruce Wiley. Fourth is Dean Tooling. Matt Gazenda, fifth fastest in qualifying. Colin Kortnick going to be sixth quickest. Seventh in qualifying, Mike Nickham. And eighth, rounding out the field tonight, Scott Kim in the 711 machine. And we will get the invert for the heat race. As you see, all 8 drivers have gridded up. And it is going to be Scott Kim leading us to the green flag here tonight. Make sure to cheer on your favorite driver. Let us know you're out there, who you're rooting for, and who do you think is going to win tonight's race. Is it going to be the fastest driver in the qualifying session? Will it be someone else here in the heat race? And how will they set themselves up for the feature event? That is what we will find out. We do thank you again for joining us here on V-Speed. Want to thank all the sponsors that make this happen week in and week out with the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. You can find the sponsor information down in the video description. That being Gunfire Games. You'll see that on a lot of these race cars, as well as Duncan Racing Designs. And Scott Kim in control here for the start. He's pulled right alongside the fellow Porsche pace car. We are in the GT4 machines once again tonight and all throughout this season. These cars very close in performance all across the board, but some of them have strengths and others have weaknesses. We'll see how each of these different brands and makes of cars will perform tonight. Pace car is in, and we are off and away. Green flags in the air from Aragon. Scott Kim pulls right out of the way. Not even going to challenge there, and that is going to send Colin Kortnick up to the top. He's Devil Machine. Mike Nickham going to fall to second here, right where he started in this one, and he's being chased closely by Dean Tulane as they work their way through the first few corners. Everybody's still going the right direction. We do have a side-by-side battle. That's Clint Fletcher working around the outside of Bruce Wiley, trying to complete that pass. The 67 gets in deep to the corner, though. Oh, and Clint Fletcher, the 69 right there, almost got into the back bumper of Matthew Gazenda as he was able to complete the pass on Bruce Wiley. And we ride on board with Clint right now in his Mercedes-AMG GT4. This car a little bit better on the straightaways, and he's using the draft to his advantage. Now takes a look down inside of the 52, last week's winner. Further up the road, Brian Kennedy taking a peek driver's right on Dean Tulane, but Dean making his way around the 57 of Mike Nickham. They do battle side by side, so a couple of close battles here on lap number 1. Nickham in the AMG Mercedes as well. He's getting that good run down the straightaway. You can see just a little bit more horsepower under that long hood, and just outrunning the BMW by a nose, but down into a tight hairpin corner, not in the preferred groove. He's going to actually overshoot entry, but nice exit, and he should be able to get close to clearing. But Dean Tulane, great defensive driving, he hangs on to it. Meanwhile, Colin Kortnick is driving away in the Porsche to lead lap number 1. He's out in front by over 2 seconds already. He got clear of Scott Kim early on, and they work their way back into turn number 1. And Dean Tulane's gotten clear of Mike Nickham. Not a challenge there. Here comes Brian Kennedy, going to go around the outside, and Clint Fletcher, already the big mover so far in this one. Both he and Brian Kennedy up 4 positions apiece. And we have a battle right now as the 52 of Matthew Gazenda and the 67 of Bruce Wiley go side by side through the turn. They work their way back over through turn number 8. Very tight corner here. Down the hill. We're back towards turn number 11 now. They really go through these corners quickly. 8, 9, 10, 11 back through that section. The 12 corner being the one that they're just going through here. Now into turn number 13. We'll go on board with Matthew Gazenda as he takes a look forward to the 67. Everybody pretty close. Right now, Mike Nickham is losing some time. He is back to the 5th position. You can see Bruce Wiley was already putting pressure on. And they're going to go down this long back straightaway. This configuration has no chicanes or anything like that. A long back straightaway hitting over 150 miles an hour until they get on the brakes down to about 40. Oh, and they make contact. Big stack up right here as Nickham may have gotten into Dean Tulane. I'm not exactly sure how this all started. It may not be how it started. Let's take a look here. It's actually Brian Kennedy and Dean Tulane side by side. The 84 going to get just clipped by the 69 as he came across the track. See if we can get another view of this one. See, Clint comes in. He's still on the lower side of the racetrack, but he makes big contact there. Around goes the 84, and everybody stacks up. Big traffic jam. Ultimately, everyone gets rolling once again. Dean Tulane well behind. That really stacked a lot of drivers up. That put Brian Kennedy on through to 2nd. Mike Nickham into 3rd. turn number 7 back towards turn number 8. Colin Kortnick seeing his lead slowly dissolve. That gap was over 2.2 seconds, now down to 1.8 in just a couple of laps. We only are on lap number 3. Each of these laps being over 2 minutes long, so only going to get about 10 laps in per race as Colin Kortnick out in front. The lead once again shrinking just a little bit. Brian Kennedy, the fellow Porsche, in that second spot, really has a bead on the 32. And once again, onto the backside of this racetrack, you'll get a little hint of draft, but not enough to really help him from this distance back. As we take a look for other battles, Matthew Gazenda is closing in on another BMW. That is Bruce Wiley. Pretty good distance between everybody at the moment with that big stack up. You can see it is pretty spread out here with only 8 cars on the racetrack. Closing in on the halfway point in the event. Again, make sure to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the broadcast tonight. It does help us out a lot. Helps these guys out in the league. Check out the sponsors of this series. Clint Fletcher trying to recover from the mistake of getting into the 84 of Dean Tulane. Got a little bit of damage on the right front of that Mercedes, but shouldn't hinder him too much. He's still putting down the fastest laps of the race. And he is right here behind Scott Kim, who's solidly in 4th. After dropping to the back on lap number 1, here comes Clint, going to go around the outside. I think Scott may just hand it over to him, trying to keep it on the racing surface, and Clint not able to clear him just yet. A good run out of the corner there. He should be able to shut the door, and he does. Big slide with the AMG through the chicane of turns 8 and 9. They'll work down the hill towards turn number 10 and 11. You know, this is a track that most people probably aren't all that familiar with, being a lesser used course. But here on iRacing definitely makes for some interesting battles. Really beautiful scenery around this track. Go on board here, you can see it's downhill, long downhill back straightaway, and Brian Kennedy has closed in to just under 3/4 of a second. And not going to be close enough to make a move just yet. You see those two get into the braking zone, and Brian Kennedy gonna go a little deep in the turn, and you gotta wait a long time, almost 5 seconds, to Mike Nickham as he makes it around his hairpin at the long, after the long back straightaway. Things really shaken up after that contact with the 69 and 84. Fletcher now into the 4th position, going to try and get back on the podium, but you can see, I think his right front wheel is actually askew compared to the left front. It does not look correct. I wonder if we can go on board and see any of his steering inputs. Let's go up the cockpit view, if he's having to correct on any of the straights. Unfortunately, not too many straights on this racetrack to really find that out. We'll check it out on the backstretch, I guess, when he comes back around. And we'll keep an eye on the battle for this race lead. Colin Kortnick seen his 2.2 second lead evaporate. Now down to just 3 car lengths between the two Porsche machines at the halfway point in this race. He's going to be able to hang on after leading the first 4 laps. Into the braking zone, right down here. It's 12 and 13 now, headed towards turn number 14. Kind of a chicane before you get onto the long straightaway, and that gap now just about a foot or two, and really good exit off the corner for both of the 32 and 77. Kortnick able to keep the gap just about 2.5 car lengths. So Brian Kennedy got right there. He's going to have to find a way around him. And he's got the draft at this point. Coming into the braking zone, the two Porsches go. Hard left-hand turn through the hairpin. This is the battle for your race lead. The two Porsche machines, nobody else close enough to really challenge them. But as they get to fighting, Mike Nickham could start to close in. Clint Fletcher as well. Scott Kim has lost a position once again now to Matthew Kazenda. You can see Dean Tulane trying to close back up on those two, just 3.5 seconds back. He is quicker than Scott Kim. I think he might have a shot to get there in the next couple of laps, actually. Fastest car on the racetrack, Brian Kennedy last time around. Still about 2 car lengths the difference. Actually, I take it back. Clint Fletcher, definitely the quickest car there. He was about 1.5 seconds faster than the top two. And they are all over each other right now. Here goes Brian Kennedy. Looks right, looks left. Kortnick holds him off for the moment. I think the best opportunity is going to be at the end of the long straightaway or in one of these tight chicane type corners. Colin Kortnick doing exactly what he needs to do to hold on. We keep an eye on that one. Clint Fletcher is now within about 1 second of Mike Nickham. That would be for a podium finish in the heat race. Look at Brian Kennedy under braking through here. He has been so close, actually pushing Colin Kortnick. The back of his Porsche machine. Getting a couple bumps and scrapes on it with the 77 right there, but just cannot seem to make the move. Now down towards the hairpin. We'll see. Gonna have to be extremely aggressive to close 2.5 car lengths. And he gets a really good drive off through there, but again, Colin Kortnick just hanging in the preferred groove. No real way around. Take a look further back here. The two Mercedes begin battling onto the front straightaway. Clint Fletcher, Mike Nickham. Clint is there. He is much faster than everyone else in this field. Again, about 1.5 seconds a lap faster than the top two. He could make it up to the leaders before it's all said and done, but he's got to make quick work of this 57. Keep an eye on the battle here. The battle up front. Again, just about 2.5 car lengths. Kortnick goes a little wide through there. Brian Kennedy, better run. Trying to force a mistake. Colin Kortnick just solid and steady. He's not as quick as he could be. He's actually about the 3rd slowest car in the field, but he's been able to hang on to this race lead. And Clint Fletcher has completed the pass. He's got damage all over the back bumper of that car after his incident earlier. And he's also got the right front damage, but nonetheless, about 1.5 seconds a lap faster. And he'll have about 3 to go, which would get him closer, but there's contact. Brian Kennedy goes around, battling for the race lead. Take a look here. Just dove it in, got alongside, and made that contact, sent the car around. One more time. He's been getting close in that section of the track, I believe turn number 12. Yep, just makes contact and ultimately upset the car enough to where he's lost 2nd, he's lost 3rd, he's fallen to 4th now. The battle for the lead is gone for the moment, but that has closed Clint Fletcher in that much more. He'll get 3 to go along with Colin Kortnick and the rest of this field, and the gap is 6.2 seconds. He is going to have to find a bit more speed. That time around was actually slower than the 32 by about a tenth and a half. But otherwise, the 67 of Bruce Wiley's found some good pace. If he had the track position, he would be able to be about third or fourth quickest. Right now, he is in fifth and right on the back of Brian Kennedy. We saw it go around, but we'll keep an eye on the lead gap. Keep an eye on these battles as well. Team Tulane is starting to make moves here and get closer to the 7-Eleven of Scott Kim. As Matthew Gazenda's gotten around Scott. Fletcher here, 5.7 seconds behind. I'm sure he's used all of his stuff up and doesn't have the benefit of any draft at this point. He's just got right front and rear end damage. Fastest in qualifying. Been able to overcome even that early issue to get up to second. Biggest mover of the race, up 6 positions. Brian Kennedy is second biggest mover, even with the spin, up 3 spots. But he's in danger of maybe losing one here. The 67 is right there. I'm not sure if maybe Mike Nickham just had an issue. Heard a little bit of wall contact from someone. Could have just been going over the curbs. Clint Fletcher has cut that deficit now down to about 4.5 seconds, so he is continuing to make inroads on your race leader, Colin Kortnick. But he's going to come across the stripe. 2 laps to go this time, barring any major problems. Scott Kim has fallen now to the 8th position. Dean Tulane goes on by. He'll claim 7th spot. Still far from over. 2 laps to go. A lot of things can happen. We see Brian Kennedy and Bruce Wiley have separated a few more car lengths at this point. And we'll see if Brian can get back on the podium. He's about 5 car lengths behind Mike Nickham. Clint Fletcher, that time 1.7 seconds faster. And this is looking very reminiscent of the feature race last week, where he was just battling so hard to make passes. Eventually got up to second and then tracked down the leader a few seconds to ultimately come home second, one second behind the eventual race winner, Matthew Gazenda. He is flying right now. Quickest car by a good margin. That being said, Mike Nickham has picked up the pace. He ran his fastest lap on the previous circuit around. Brian Kennedy is right here putting that pressure on. Keep an eye on these two, the 57 and 77. And again, Brian's so good in this part of the track. That's the sound we've been hearing. They've been catching that little pylon on the inside of the curbing. Makes a lot of noise with the suspension. On Kortnick at the end of the straightaway through the hairpin. Clint Fletcher is in the same piece of real estate now within 3 seconds. He's going to have to run a miracle lap, I think, on the 1 to go. Here it is. White flag is in the air. Colin Kortnick out in front. They got 2 flagmen here at Motorland Aragon. That's pretty interesting. This time, Clint Fletcher, his fastest lap of the race, 2:06.692. That is quickest. He's the only one in the 2:06s. Colin Kortnick ran a 2:08.49, so 1.8 seconds the difference. I think Clint, again, he's going to have to find about another second, or the 32 is going to have to make a mistake that costs him 1 second. But he could see that pink and gray car getting closer and closer. And how about this? Brian Kennedy, he's at the back door. I tell you, it's always interesting here. Even with only 8 cars in the field, we always have battles in the final moments of these races. And we have 3 cars fighting to get on the podium right here. Could be any one of them. Brian Kennedy trying to recover. Bruce Wiley is trying to make gains. He's found some pace. Clint Fletcher's now within 1.7 seconds of Colin Gortnick. That's the difference right there. 1.5 seconds. Another car length and a half chopped out of it there through that corner. We'll see if he can find more speed. Get a really good exit through here. That Mercedes just a little stronger on the straightaway, continuing to chop the deficit, now down to 1.3 seconds, but only a couple more corners left on the racetrack. Now the gap 1.2 seconds. Clint Fletcher is gonna dive it in as deep as he can. Colin Gortnick goes a little wide on exit. The gap under 0.8 of a second. Coming back to the checkered. It's 4 car lengths the difference, but it's going to be Colin Gortnick hanging on to it by the thinnest of margins. Just a half second or so. It's Clint Fletcher. I think he's going to wait up here possibly. He's crossed the line as they all pile in here down on turn number 1. And what a battle there. Bruce Wiley able to take 3rd away. Let's actually get a replay of what happened in the final couple of corners. Brian Kennedy was alongside Mike Nickham. Brian sent it into the corner and he gets hooked. I want to see the full replay of this. This is an unusual incident here. Go to the quick commercial break halfway. But Brian goes in. This is the last corner of the race. And there goes Bruce Wiley on by. He gets on the podium. Wow, you don't see that a lot here. These guys often extremely respectful of each other, and that is an incident that I'm just not used to seeing from these guys, but we'll see how they handle it going into the feature race. We do ask you to stay with us. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email. This season of the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter. This season of the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League is brought to you by Gunfire Games, developers of the hit game Remnant 2, now available for PC, PS5, and Xbox. For more information on Remnant 2, visit www.remnantgame.com. We're back at the racetrack now with the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League from Motorland, Aragon. Again, my name is Adam Baker. I'll be your commentator here for the feature event. This is race number 6 of 11 of the summer season, the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. As always, a mouthful every single time. I hope that our feature race is just as entertaining as we saw the heat race to be. Colin Kortnick was the winner, and he'll start at the back of this one. Let's take a look at where your favorite drivers are rolling off for the feature event. You can see the starting grid over on the left side, but we'll go through them one by one. Scott Kim in the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4, going to be rolling off from the front row. Mike Nickum, after a very interesting up and down race, he's going to roll off from the second position. Dean Tooley going to start from third here in this one. Matthew Gazenda starting from the fourth spot. Brian Kennedy going to roll off from fifth. Bruce Wiley not going to take to the starting grid, so we'll see if he queues up at any point. Clint Fletcher scheduled to start off here in the seventh spot, and Colin Kortnick going to round out your starting grid for the feature event from Aragon. So Colin Kortnick takes the win after starting towards the front. And now he's going to have to start at the back and make some moves on these guys. And we'll see if he's able to make the passes. Clint Fletcher was closing and was only about 0.6 of a second off the back bumper of the 32 machine. And he's going to have his work cut out for him for the second time here tonight. Green flag is out. We're off and away. Clean and green so far. Scott Kim, he didn't give up the lead as early in this one, but it's Mike Nickum powering around the outside. He's going to take the top spot away, and now Scott Kim got a bumper full of the 84 of Dean Tooley. We'll see if Scott has learned a little bit here after the first race. If he can keep up with these guys and at least run up here in the pack for a little bit longer. Dean Tooley in the third position, Brian Kennedy in fourth. Clint Fletcher is into fifth, already 2 positions gained, but that being with Bruce Wiley not ridding up. We only have 7 cars for the feature race. Big run over the curb there for Colin Kortnick at the tail end of the field. And again, he's got his work cut out for him at this point. It'd be much more difficult charging through the field than trying to hang on to the race lead. Dean Tooley side by side with Brian Kennedy. Both of these drivers collected in multiple incidents during the last race. And how about Brian Kennedy and Clint Fletcher nose to tail? Clint just pushing the 77 down the back stretch. They work their way towards turn number 16. Up through the gears through turn number 17, and then the final corner here, turn number 18. It's Mike Nickum out in front. Scott Kim hanging very tough in the second spot, just about 9/10 back, but a good opening lap for him after just giving up 1 position. Remember, we went 10 laps in race number 1. We'll go likely the same distance here, and barring any major problems. About this Colin Kortnick, he's got around Matthew Gazenda, so last week's winner of the feature race, currently running in 7th. The heat race winner running in 6th. Clint Fletcher putting that pressure on the 77 machine. And Dean Tooley is now caught the back bumper of Scott Kim. He's right there, looks left. Now going to cut back, try and look right, but did not get the drive off. Who did, that was Brian Kennedy, but he thinks better of it, stays in line. We've got 4 cars separated by about 2 feet apiece. pull up the track map, you can see where everybody is running, and there goes Colin Kortnick around. He's gonna slam the inside wall, and big damage on the right side of that Porsche. I think it just got upset coming over the curb. Yeah, back end came around and could not collect it. Again, those are mid-engine cars, those Porsches. A little different handling characteristics, but unfortunate incident there for the winner of the heat race. Currently at the back of the field and with heavy damage. We'll see if he has to bring it down pit road to get it fixed, or if he'll be able to continue on. There goes Brian Kennedy making a big move to the left of Scott Kim. Down into the hairpin, cuts it very tightly over the little pylon right there, and able to take the position away. And Clint Fletcher now able to get around Scott Kim. He's got a good charge down the front straightaway, right on the back of the 77. Dean Tuline's gone to the top spot after Mike Nickham slipped up. So change of leader. Tuline first, Nickham in second. Brian Kennedy goes to third. Clint Fletcher in fourth, and Scott Kim falls to the fifth spot. Matthew Gazenda and Colin Kortnick. Well, Gazenda is right there. Colin Kortnick did not bring it down pit road. Looks to be able to continue even with the heavy damage. But the top six all within just 2.5 seconds of each other. After 2 laps, that is very, very close proximity. Good job by all of these guys to keep it going in the right direction. And Tuline out in front. Can he hang on and win this thing? Long ways yet to go. Clint Fletcher is charging hard, not making any super aggressive moves. And every time they hit that pylon, I think somebody is hitting the outside guardrail, but it's just the noise that it makes when they run over that little, it looks like a airstrip marker. Here we go again. Brian Kennedy taking a peek, but he's opened the door now on the outside for Clint Fletcher to pull alongside, but I think it may still work out for the 77, as Nickham gonna essentially yield the position. They had a run in at the end of the race, of the last race, I should say. Clint Fletcher still in the fourth position. He could not take advantage, but he's getting a really good run down into turn one. And right here on the back, again, the two Mercedes set to do battle. Matthew Gazenda's gotten around Scott Kim, so Scott back to the sixth position, but running much more strongly here. The opening sets of laps. The battle we'll keep our eye on. Mike Nickham, Clint Fletcher. Hope you're enjoying the battles from Aragon tonight. Battle for the lead is Dean Tuline and Brian Kennedy. And Tuline gonna go very wide. That's gonna open the door for the 77, but he's not able to complete the pass. Tried to cut back, and that's gonna allow everybody else to close right back in. Dean Tuline driving defensively, doing everything he has to do, making that BMW as wide as he can. And you see him here, weaving down the straightaway just a little bit, trying to break the draft. Not that Dean's way off pace or anything, but the 77 is really quick. I mean, he was almost as fast as Clint Fletcher for much of the heat race. And those two are the fastest pretty much all night long. Again, the 77 and 57 go side by side through the final corner, and I think both of them a little bit scared after what happened on the final lap of the heat race. Down into turn number 1, big dive in there by the 69. He's going to get right to the back bumper. Can he make any kind of move on the 57? You can see him just trying to get any opportunity, using a very different line than these cars in front of him. Gazenda has closed right in on these guys. He's actually found a little bit of speed that while they've been battling. We still have 5 cars within 2.8 seconds. Scott Kim has fallen off a little bit here. Still not too far back. He could find his way into the podium positions. There goes Matthew Gazenda, well wide of the corner, though. That will cost him a bunch of time, maybe even a penalty. Clint Fletcher looks to the inside. Now can he cross back and get underneath the 57 down into the hairpin? He gets a great drive onto the straightaway, and now they'll race it up. The 2 AMG Mercedes. Those long hoods. The big V8s in those cars. Clint Fletcher will complete the pass, but Mike Nickum gonna just try and get back alongside down into the hairpin. Almost contact. Just a little smoother through there is the 69, and he'll move into the podium positions. Brian Kennedy up to second now. He is on the back bumper. It's 2 car lengths after it was just 1.2 seconds earlier. Now can he complete the pass on the 84, or will he be held up, and is that going to allow Clint Fletcher to get there? Almost makes the move down to the inside, and here he goes. Really good drive off that corner. Can he find a way around? That BMW taking up a lot of room right now. Let's see, he's just trying everything and gets a big slide out of the corner. You would think the Porsche being a bit smaller, a bit lighter, would have the advantage, but it's also a little bit lower on power. Not as good on the straights as these BMWs and AMGs, but it's a little bit more nimble. He's quicker in the turns, but just not able to take advantage of that for the moment. And we are ticking down here, under 8 minutes. We'll be coming back to 4 laps to go. Dean Tooling is doing a fantastic job. He's led 4 laps out of the first 5 that have been completed. And can be trying to find the front. Clint Fletcher has not found the lead just yet, but he is on his way forward. 3 positions gained. Mike Nickum did lead a lap. Matthew Gazenda back here in the 5th position. Scott Kim just about 7 seconds back in 6th. And then Colin Kortnick and the damaged Porsche now, after winning the heat race, not going to be the result that he would have liked to see. But he may still have an opportunity to gain a position or so if these guys get into each other. You never want to give up in sim racing. You always fight to the finish, just like you would do in real racing. If you've dedicated your time to doing this, you might as well give it all you've got. And these guys do that week in and week out. And we're seeing that again here tonight. The 84 out in front, he has done a masterful job of holding off Brian Kennedy. I mean, it is a car length between these two, and that has brought Clint Fletcher in. He is right there now, and he is a bit more aggressive with the moves, I think, than the 77. Being said, Brian made a couple of moves in the last race that he's a bit more aggressive than he usually makes. Here he goes now, looking driver's left, going to try and force another mistake out of the 84. Just solid as can be, though, is Dean Tulane. And he's right in the way. Brian sticking right to the back, but you'll see on the straightaway just the difference there, getting up through the gears. 84 just a little bit quicker, and also the 69 is going to be a little bit faster. See, he's right there in the back of Brian Kennedy. He could have a shot at a move. They all get hard on the binders into the hairpin. Turns 16, now back to the right through turn number 17. Back up the hill towards turn number 18 and the start-finish line. Clint Fletcher, very different approach there to that corner, trying to muster up as much speed at the end of the straightaway as possible. Again, Dean Tulane, your leader at the stripe. Brian Kennedy second, Clint Fletcher third. The battle could be on further back. Mike Nickham is falling into the clutches of Matthew Gazenda. Could have a good battle for fourth and fifth before it's all said and done. But it's a top three breakaway for the time being. A lot closer, though, than we're used to seeing even this far into a race. All of that elevation change, in addition to trying to make it around these corners, you've got gravity playing a role, and I think we've even got a little bit of wind, a very small amount here tonight. And that does play a role with the handling of these cars, but really pretty big racetrack and a lot of room to run as now battle for the lead. Look at the move Brian Kennedy tried to make. He couldn't hold it, but he pulled alongside through that corner. That could cost him second spot, as Clint Fletcher is right there, and I think he's going to take a stab at it. Yeah, here he goes now. Driver's left. And he's got the advantage under the hood of that AMG Mercedes. But it is far from over. We still have 3 minutes in this one. It'll be coming back to 2 laps to go, and look at that now. Clint Fletcher, can he complete the race and actually get the win out of this thing? He's closed in this far. Biggest mover in both events so far tonight. And he is right on the back bumper. Dean Tulane goes to seal it off. Brian Kennedy peeks out even wider. Clint Fletcher, he is just mirroring every single move the 84 is going to make. Clint got into the 84 of Dean Tulane, though. Remember, that's what happened when that sent the 84 around and stacked everybody up in the heat race. So you know he wants to find a way around cleanly here. He doesn't want to make any contact. That is paramount. Tulane just solid as can be once again. He's actually picked up the pace. He's running very consistent in the 207s, high 207s. Not quite as quick as the 69, who's been in the mid to low 207s. But that's not a lot of difference around a really big track like this. That's maybe one turn. We'll see if Clint can find his advantage as they're coming back towards the end of this lap. That's an area he's been very good, but not the best run that time. Dean Tooling able to stretch it out about 2.5 car lengths. We'll be coming back to the white flag in just a few moments, and it's going to be amongst the top 3, all under a blanket, under a half second separating these 3. And he's going to make a little contact here again. That's the same spot that Dean got turned around and they made contact last time, and that's going to space him out just a little bit more. They had to back off. Kim, Mike Nickham just changed positions for a brief moment. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it looks like Mike Nickham in the 5th spot. He's been passed by Matthew Gazenda. So that's further back, but white flag is in the air. This is the final lap from Aragon, race number 6 of the summer season. The top 3, nose to tail. It's Tooling hanging on by a thread. And the hang tight machine right here behind him, Clint Fletcher trying to do anything he can to find a way around. Been on the back bumper all race long. Even tagged the rear bumper on the last lap. You've got Brian Kennedy right here as well. They are all fighting for this win here at Aragon. Really good run out of that corner. And Clint Fletcher, he's going to have to make an aggressive move at some point. He's going to go wide on entry. Cuts it back here. Really nice move. Can he get alongside the 84 of Dean Tooling? White flag is out. Remember, this is the last lap. Not too many opportunities to pass. Not going to make it happen, though. Tooling powers back through. And here comes Clint Fletcher trying to set him up for the long back straightaway. He gets a nice exit. But the 84 does as well. Really only one more opportunity to pass. He's gonna have to make it work in the hairpin. Dean Tooling going defensive here. But that's gonna open up the door. Here comes Clint Fletcher. Late on the brakes goes the 84, side by side. They make a little bit of contact back towards the start finish line. Clint Fletcher trying to stay alongside. Dean Tooling is there. It's gonna be a drag race on the way back. Coming to the checker, Dean Tooling's gonna be able to do it. I think he's gonna hang on. Wow, what a finish. 78 thousandths of a second. And Dean Tooling is your winner here at Aragon. What an incredible race to the finish. We're gonna get another view of that from the chopper cam so we can see how close it was. See, Clint Fletcher just did everything he could, but was gonna have to cut the racetrack, and he makes a little contact. Look at Brian Kennedy. He actually took second away. And that's how close it was. Let's go back one more time. See if we can get a view of them at the stripe. I think that's gonna be the view. We can find one here. Yeah, I think that's going to probably do it. That is the best view that we're going to be able to get. What an incredible finish. 3 cars under a blanket like that. You don't see that very much here in this series. I don't think we've ever seen a finish that close. But your winner tonight, that is going to be Dean Tooling. What a finish. We'll interview him and Brian Kennedy and Clint Fletcher, your top 3. And take a look at the rest of the results in just a moment, but we'll be right back after a quick commercial break. From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email. This season of the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League is brought to you by Gunfire Games, developers of the hit game Remnant 2, now available for PC, PS5, and Xbox. For more information on Remnant 2, visit www.remnantgame.com. And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The ball gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
What a race here tonight from Aragon, and Dean Tulane is your winner after what an intense battle we saw there the last few laps. Let's see if we can pull in our top finisher here tonight. And give me 1 second, we'll see if we can pull him in here. Sure that we are getting picked up by Discord on our side. Let's see if we can pull in driver of the number 84 machine. Dean Tulane, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy. Hey, Dean, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy. Hey, pretty good, Dean. What a amazing finish here tonight. This was one of the most intense and closest finishes I think we've seen in this league probably ever. And you come away with the victory. You had some pressure on you there. Just describe those last few laps.
I tried to, get all my Dave Curtis in me to see what I could do to hold him off, and it ended up working. I think Clint was a little bit easy on me since he pitted me in the first race. so he didn't push it as hard as he could in some of those corners. But it was really fun.
Yeah, we suspected that might have been part of it, and you guys made a little contact in actually the same turn here in that race. You could see he backed off, and he wanted to make that pass clean, but really just an incredible finish. I think 3 cars under 1/10 of a second, and you get the victory here tonight. Let's see where we're going for next week. I believe it's going to be we're headed to Watkins Glen for the first of a doubleheader week next week. How do you feel about going out there? And then Mid-Ohio, if you think you're going to make both races.
Watkins Glen will be fun because I'll be up there at the real track the weekend after. And then I should be able to make Mid-Ohio since we're doing a Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't leave to go up to the Glen until Thursday, so I should be able to make both of them. And it should be a really fun week.
Yeah, those are both really entertaining and fun tracks to run, and we'll see if you can go maybe back to back or 3 in a row. I mean, I think you put on quite a show here tonight. Obviously had good speed all race long, and it only got faster and faster. And you get the victory here tonight at Aragon. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank our sponsors, DRD, Gunfire Games, and Matt Motorsports. Scott for putting this on, and you guys for doing a fantastic broadcast.
Awesome, Dean. Well, congrats on the win here in an all-time finish in this league, and go celebrate. We'll catch you at Watkins Glen in Mid-Ohio.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. That is your race winner, Dean Tulane, as we're going to go now to the second place finisher who put on a heck of a battle there to try and get the win. This is Brian Kennedy. We'll see if we can pull him in here.
Got a good trip to.
Hey, Brian, sorry to interrupt you there. You got a copy.
Got a copy. Hi, Adam.
Well, you got as close as you can get without winning this one. You were right there battling for so much of this one after a heat race where you had to recover a couple times. Obviously, very fast all race long and just come up a little bit short. How does it feel to battle like that, at least here for the last few laps?
I mean, I felt like I was battling every lap, both races. It was intense, and unfortunately, some contact too, right, where I came door to door with Colin in the first race and spun out, and then Mike and I came together in the last lap of the first race. On that final kind of small turn there, just really hard racing, and didn't, both of us agreed we left like just enough room, which wasn't quite enough, and came together. So, but yeah, that finish was something else. Glad to see Dean and Clint fighting out and gave me a chance to catch up there at the end and make the pass. So.
Yeah, the 69 made a little bit of contact there on the 84, and it looked almost like a perfect opportunity. You jump to the outside, you come up just 78 thousandths short. This has got to be the closest top 3 finish I think we've ever seen here.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think we've ever had 3 that close within a tenth. So.
Yeah, very entertaining, especially with a small field to have 3 cars, that close together. Really, it shows, how competitive and how close all of you guys are, and putting on a great show for us each week. We go to Watkins Glen in Mid-Ohio for a doubleheader next week. How do you feel about going to those tracks?
Yeah, I like them both a lot, and they're almost local. They're within I think 8 or 10 hours of drive. So, been to Watkins Glen in real life. So yeah, I love that track. A lot of history and a fun track to drive, and Mid-Ohio is fun too. So, looking forward.
I agree. The Glen, one of my favorite places on earth. It's one of the a really amazing track to race, and it's going to be fun to see you guys do that out here in the sim and see if you can get a victory. But you come home just a bit short here in second place tonight. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to the guys that showed up. Like you said, small field, but incredibly close racing, and glad that those guys show up, most weeks and provide fun. And then, of course, our sponsors, Gunfire Games and Duncan Racing Designs and V-Speed.
Awesome, Brian. Well, congrats on an all-time finish here and a great drive up to the second place. And we'll catch you next week at Watkins Glen in Mid-Ohio.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. That's your second place finisher here tonight, Brian Kennedy. And now we're going to go to third place. Did not seem to fully close out one of these things, but has been so fast. We're going to pull him into the booth now. I think he's streaming for these guys. But hey, Clint, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, man, just a little bit short here. You had the speed in both the feature and the heat race, and you finished second in the heat and third here in an all-time finish in this league. But just not quite the victory. This is 2 weeks in a row now. You've been right there knocking on the door. And you definitely have the fastest car. Just describe tonight's race and trying to work your way through the field.
Yeah, first heat made the mistake hitting Dean, so definitely second heat wanted to be a little more cautious. And I mean, Dean put up a great battle for Brian, just tried to be patient and get past Brian and then hopefully try to get past Dean. But guys put up a great fight and it was fun all the way to the last lap.
Yeah, 3 cars within 1/10 of a second. It's definitely the closest I think we've ever seen the podium. But even in such a short field, we were just talking to Brian. Only 8 cars showed up tonight, but 3 of them were within 1/10 of a second in this feature race, and that just goes to show how close and how competitive it is here in this league. We go to a couple tracks that are very different from this one in Watkins Glen and Mid Ohio next week. How do you feel about going out there, and you think you can get the victory?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm taking each week kind of day by day because I'm about to go back to work, and with the baby, it's hard to always get away. So we'll see.
It's good to have seen you back out here, and you make it entertaining, when it seems like sometimes these guys have the races locked up. Like last week, you had probably one of the most incredible drives to get within, striking distance, and ultimately kind of the same situation in a lot of these races and events here tonight. But, thanks for putting on a great show for us. You come home third. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Like always, you for the broadcast. It's great to watch them, even though I'm not always racing. Guys at the BMWCCA League for hosting the Sim League, and then Harry for always making the awesome liveries.
Awesome, Clint. Well, congrats on a podium finish here tonight, and really just an amazing finish to be a part of. And we'll catch you next week, hopefully, at the Glen or Mid Ohio. And have a great night.
You too. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. That's your third place finisher. Fastest car tonight, like he was last week, but ultimately cannot close it out. Right there, knocking on the door, though. And he'll be back at some point here to get one of these victories. Let's go to the full race rundown. Head on out for the evening here tonight. What a amazing race from Aragon. We have 3 cars within 1/10 of a second, and Dean Tulane able to close it out, and he is going to be your winner for the, I believe, first time here this season. So congrats to him on that. Brian Kennedy, so close, but so far away, comes home in the 2nd spot. Clint Fletcher finishes in the 3rd position. Matthew Gazenda comes home in the 4th spot. Mike Nickham able to salvage top 5 out of this one. Scott Kim finishes 6th. Colin Kortnick with the damage finishes in 7th. And Bruce Wiley, who did not start the race, he'll be credited with the 8th position. So that is race number 6 of the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League from Aragon. And we do want to thank you so much for tuning in here tonight to watch this amazing race. We'll be back next week with these guys. We're not going to be broadcasting the Watkins Glen race on Tuesday, but we will be live on Wednesday with the race from Mid-Ohio. Should be a really entertaining one. And these guys always put on a great show, even with small fields. So you don't want to miss the action. We did see the message from AJ there in chat. If you want to get involved in the league, make sure to check them out on iRacing. You can type in the league ID that we just shared. It's 4863. And you should be able to send in an application and get connected with those guys, and they'll let you know if you qualify to get into the field. But we do want to thank you again for tuning in here, and thank the sponsors as well. We'll be live tomorrow night with the V-Speed Invitational. You're definitely not going to want to miss that one. We'll be doing a couple of races in a couple of groups, and we're going to be at Auto Club and Lime Rock in the NASCAR Xfinity cars. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be one of the most entertaining events that we're going to show all year, and drivers going to be contending for a large prize pot at the end of the tournament. So they'll be racing tomorrow night as well as Saturday night. So make sure to tune in. 8:30 p.m. Is when the sessions go live. We'll be live with the broadcast at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So don't miss it right here on V-Speed. Until then, have a great night.